Grade 5 Math, Topic 14, Lesson 1. For additional resources on Topic 14, log into ClassLink and then onto Envision and click on Topic 14. In this lesson, we're going to talk about what a coordinate grid is. I'm going to read box B and you can follow along. A coordinate grid has a horizontal x-axis and a vertical y-axis. The point at which the x-axis and the y-axis intersect is called the origin. Another word for intersect is saying where do they meet. So that point is right here, and that point's going to be labeled 0. That's the origin. Here along the bottom is the x-axis, and then vertically here along the left side is your y-axis. Let's look at box C. A point on the grid is named using an ordered pair of numbers. The first number is the x-coordinate, names the distance from the origin along the x-axis. The second number is the y-coordinate, names the distance from the origin along the y-axis. So let's talk about what that means. When I approach this problem, there's a lot of vocabulary in it. Ordered pair of numbers is going to be very important. An ordered pair is what you see here. An ordered pair is written with a parenthesis, a number, a comma, a number, and a parenthesis. I'm going to tell you how to fill those in right now. So if I want to find point A, which they have on this little grid, I have to see how far in from the origin at 0 on the x-axis that point is. So a way to remember how to write these ordered pairs or on the coordinate grid is the x always comes first. And just like when you were a baby, you had to learn to crawl before you learned to walk. So you crawl along that x-axis first and get that point, and then you walk along the y-axis, and then you get your second point. And that's how these ordered pairs are always written, x first, then y. So for this point, like the red arrow shows us, I start at the origin, and I only have to go 1 in on the x-axis. So I write the number 1. Now I have to see how far away or how vertical the next point is because I'm walking on that y-axis. So I have to go up 1, 2, 3 spots, and I get to point A on my y-axis. So my coordinate pair or my ordered pair for this point is going to be 1, 3 in those parentheses because it's 1 space away on the y-axis, the x-axis, and 3 spaces away on the y-axis. Now let's look at my little map I have over here. I'm going to put a point on the map. I like this little purple house. There's my point. So I'm going to start here on the far left. I always start at the origin. Now, you may be wondering, well, what if the point was here? What would it be? The origin's point is always 0, 0 because there hasn't been any movement on the x-axis and there's been no movement on the y-axis either, so it's 0, 0. So let's see how far on the x-axis my little house is away from the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's 6 points away from the origin on the x-axis. Now I need to see how vertical it goes on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm 4 on the y-axis. So my ordered pair of numbers for that point that I made is 6, 4. It's 6 spaces in on the x-axis and it's 4 spaces high on the y-axis. Let's do some more worked examples. I'm going to do number 9, 10, and 13. You can work the other ones on your own. So let's look at number 9 together. 9 is point X. So I come over to my coordinate grid here and I look for point X. All right, X is right here. So remember, you crawl on the x-axis before you walk on the y. So let's crawl first. So I go across my x-axis. I start at the origin and I go 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 points in to that x point that's on the coordinate grid. So I'm going to write a 4 for my x-coordinate. Now I need to see how far up on the y-axis that point is. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 3 spaces up on y. So my ordered pair for this point is going to be 4, 3. So that's point X. So I'm going to write 4, 3 in my parentheses. Now let's look at Y. I'm going to erase some of the stuff that I wrote to clear up our coordinate grid. All right. Point Y. Where's that? Oh, Y is all the way down here. Okay. So remember, X point first, then Y. You crawl before you walk. So I start at the origin. I only have to go in one point to get to Y on my X axis. So 1 is going to be my X coordinate. Well, Y didn't even go anywhere vertical on the Y axis, so Y is 0. See how it didn't even go up to 1? It's still down here on the bottom. So I go 1 in for X, and I didn't go anywhere for Y. So that's my set of coordinate points for point Y. My X value is 1, my Y value is 0, and that's how I write the ordered pair. I'm going to erase this. Let's find point S. All right, point S, where are you? Oh, point S is all the way up here. All right, so remember, you crawl along the x-axis before you walk on the y, and I'm going to do my x point first and then my y, and that's how I'm going to write my ordered pair. So let's start at the origin. S is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 spaces on my x-axis. And now I have to see how far up S goes on my y-axis. So I count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 points high on the y-axis. So this point actually ends up being 5, 5. Now I'm doing this counting each space out for you. Use the numbers to your advantage. If you can look at this and see that the S value is right here on the 5, you know that that's your x-axis number. You can come across right here and you see that that's your y to make point S. So I'm counting each one out to teach you, but if you can see and make that bridge, because these are labeled very nice and clear, to get your ordered points faster. Use this grid to solve 8, 11, and 12. That's going to be point T, W, and Z on your own. I picked some points here on this coordinate grid that we're going to write the ordered pairs together. I picked point A first, so let's count and find point A's X and Y coordinates together. So remember, you walk on the x-axis you crawl on the x-axis before you walk on the y. So your ordered pair is always going to be x-axis first and then y. So let's look at point A. 1, 2, 3 on the x-axis. So I'm going to write that here so I don't forget it. And then let's count up for point A on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Point A is 5 spaces high on that y-axis. All right, so my ordered pair for point A is 3 on the x-axis and 5 on the y. Let's do another one. I'm going to erase my markings. Okay, the next one is C. All right, C is over here. I do my x-axis first and then my y. So 1 on the x, and then I have to count up on my y. 1, 2, 3. So my ordered pair for C is going to be 1 on the x and 3 on the y. All right, now I have to find H. Point H is over here on the right. So remember, x-axis first, then y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the x-axis. And then let's see how high it is on the y. 1, 2. All right. So my ordered pair for H is going to be 5 for my x and 2 for my y. All right, let's find point F. All right, point F, you are right here in the bottom middle. So I'm finding this point. Remember, x first, then y. So I'm going to start at the origin. 1, 2, 3 for point F for the x-axis. And then 1, for the y. It's only one space high on the y-axis, so my ordered pair is 3 for the x, 1 for the y. And now my last one that I'm picking is going to be j. All right, j is over here. I'm going to be counting for. Remember, x first, then y. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 on the x-axis. And now I have to count on my y to see how vertical it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 spaces vertical. So this point ends up being the same amount of spaces away from the origin on the x-axis and the same amount of spaces away from the origin on the y-axis. So that is point 4 and 4. Here's one last example we're going to look at together. Which of the following points is located at ordered pair 4, 2? All right, so think in your head. What point comes first? If you said X, you're correct. What point comes second? Y. Remember, you crawl before you walk. All right, so let's go over to our coordinate grid and look together. So I need to count 4 spaces first. So here's the origin, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I made it 4 spaces, but I run into B. So let's see what they're asking for as my y coordinate, because 4 is my x. 2 is my y. So B is not going to be my point because I'm not done yet. I have to go 2 vertical, 1, 2 on my y-axis to get to the coordinate grid points that I'm being asked for, because my x-axis is 4 and my y-axis is 2. So I find point M located at 4 on the x and 2 on the y. So that's going to be B, point M.